Hey guys, Adam Trigger here. It's Wednesday. We're going to be talking Big East basketball. But first, please like and subscribe to the WagerTalk YouTube channel and head on over to WagerTalk.com. I've got a 5% college basketball max bet. Won my only play yesterday with San Jose State, 4% winner in a game that was never really in doubt. So we've got some momentum and we've got a 5%er. These are up 20 units since November 1st on the max bets. And I hope we get one. I hope we get another max bet winner tonight. Okay, we're going to talk Big East basketball here. We're going to talk Xavier, the Musketeers, heading out to Omaha, Nebraska to take on Creighton. First thing I'm going to bring up here, as it pertains to Creighton, now that they're just hammering teams and they're 7-2 in Big East play, and suddenly Creighton is the trendy team once again. This Creighton team over the past 5 years has been the trendy team in the Big East like every year. Even before they were like really good. You could even go back to like the Doug McDermott days. They're always like the fan favorite, trendy sort of like team to win this conference. It never really happens. They always end up finishing behind a UConn or something like that. But, I think the point I'm trying to make here is the last couple of years, Creighton has been really good. They've still been the trendy side, but they've also had the sort of, they've had the talent and the resume to back it up. I know they're now 7-2 in Big East play, and they've got a couple nice wins. They beat UConn, they beat St. John's. They're a game back of first place. Marquette and St. John's currently up there with one loss, but they're kind of hammering the lesser teams in this league, and I'm just not buying it. I don't. Ever since Pop Isaacs went down, I thought this team was going to be cooked. They're not cooked. They're still winning games against the bottom half of this league. But I do think there's reason to kind of sell them going forward, especially against the number, especially as they now start to lay big numbers against teams that I think are in their sort of, weight class. And Xavier is definitely one of those teams. So why do I not think Creighton is as good as they were in past years? Well, one, I already said, Pop Isaacs, I thought, was a big part of this team. He goes down. Looks like he's done for the year. They've been fine without him against the lesser teams in this league. They even have a couple of nice wins, but they're just not an elite shot-making team like they've been in years past. I always thought that was the sort of biggest advantage Creighton had over their competition was they could just make shots. They had a guy in Ryan Kalkbrenner, who they still, of course, have. Still the best player on the team. That's a great rim defender that can, run some pick and roll, score at the rim. And he was surrounded by elite shot makers. I don't think this team has those kind of shot makers. And I think the numbers are suggesting that be the case. Right now, Creighton is outside the top 50 nationally in field goal percentage. They're outside the top 100 nationally in 3-point field goal percentage. Both numbers that have been higher in recent years. So again, they're a very good team. They still have good shooters. They still have Ryan Kalkbrenner, but they don't have the elite shot making that they've had in the past couple of years. And for that reason, I just don't think you're going to see Creighton continue this sort of run to the top of the Big East as they start playing the teams more in their weight class, meaning the Xaviers, and then the second time around against teams like Marquette, St. John's, that top to middle of the pack. They'll still beat the teams, like DePaul, like Seton Hall, the Providences, the Georgetowns, and stuff like that. But these are the games where, and they very well may win. This is a tough trip. It's tough to go out to Omaha to win, but winning by margin, I think, is going to be difficult here. Xavier, they had a stretch where they missed Zach Fremantle. They're playing better. I mean, if you look at their last 5 games, like the only blemish is that terrible result against St. John's where they led the majority of the game, went into overtime, and then failed to cover 7.5. Like that's really the only blemish recently for Xavier. If you look at some of the advanced metrics, Xavier's offense rates out very similar to Creighton, and Xavier's defense rates out very similar to Creighton. And then you've got a big in Fremantle that can kind of offset Kalkbrenner a little bit. So I look at these two teams. I see two teams that are very sort of evenly matched. I see teams that play a similar tempo, a similar pace. And, one of those teams here, the team that I think is actually probably trending more in the right direction, Xavier coming off of a big win over UConn and on the run that they've been on, is catching 6 points in this game. So for me, like, again, it's tough. It's difficult to fade Creighton at home. But in my opinion, you're being asked to pay a pretty big premium to do so. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Xavier wins this game. If they don't, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities to think that it's a kind of one possession tight game decided at the very end, even if Creighton's shooting free throws late, which is an area they haven't been as good in from the free throw line either this year. Even if they're shooting free throws late, they're still winning by like 4 or 5. I think 6 is a very fair number here for Xavier. I think Creighton, again, is starting to get a little bit overvalued because they caught UConn on the right time and they just slammed DePaul and Seton Hall. Prior to that, beat Butler and Providence. That's essentially the bottom of this league outside of the UConn game. So I like Xavier here. I think this is going to be a competitive game, probably one decided in the final minute or two. And if that ends up being the case, you've got to like your chances catching 6 points. So the free pick for today is Xavier +6. Again, head on over to WagerTalk. Check out my 5% max bet. These are up 19.5 units since November 1st. I have one tonight in college basketball. That's on my page, wt.buzz/AT. And also check out my show On the Clock. I've tweaked the format. I think you guys are going to like it. New format starting today. 3 more free picks. And cash all your tickets tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow.